Hey, it's George, your reality and charity fundraising guy, coming with you with another, hopefully, helpful tip. The reality of charity fundraising, all that other stuff. Extra points on anyone who can tell me what these are. This, and what the significance is. This, and especially this. And if you know what that says, extra added points. We'll do a contest if somebody can tell me what that says, because it's kind of funny, and what these are significance are. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about today. What do you think is this is my opinion. What do you think my opinion is? What's the most destructive thing or whatever for a charity doing a follow-up fundraiser? Especially one that does another one, does one real big one, and then they're going to do a follow-up fundraiser. What do you think it is? Anybody? Bueller? For all the kids in the back, that's from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a movie a long time ago because I'm an old man. What do you think it is? Anybody? I'm going to tell you what it is. I learned this from probably my closest friend in the entire world other than my own wife and my son, Scott Berg, who used to be, I know Scott's going to watch this. In fact, Scott, I'm hanging with you because he's in the hospital right now. And I'm going to say a prayer. I already said a prayer, my wife and I. Scott Burke, he used to be a regional director, which is a paid employee from Delta Waterfowl, and I learned this from him. The most destructive thing for a charity that's doing a follow-up fundraiser to another one is sophomoric syndrome. George, what in the hell is the sophomoric syndrome? You're saying these big words. I don't know what it means. I'm going to turn this video off. What it means is this. If a charity holds a big fundraiser one year, they think, because they did all the work that first year, they think, the second year is going to be easy. We're just going to roll right in it. No, that's not right. That's not true. In fact, sometimes it's the exact opposite. You got to work twice as hard because you got to build the momentum. Because the first year, build the momentum and the motivation. Because the first year, you were all excited about it. Look, I've done this so long, I know the deal. You were really excited about it. And you were all pumped up about what's going to happen. Oh my God, it's going to be so great. The second year, you lose some of that motivation. You use some of that fun and outlook. So what you do is you sit back, and this is what they do. I'm telling you, this is what happens. They sit back and they don't publicize. They don't advertise on Facebook. They don't tell their friends. They're not hitting as hard because they're not as excited. They also think they don't need to build a team, that everybody's just going to help anyway. It's just going to come back. No, that's bad. It's bad. You got to act, and you have to think like, oh God, here we go again. I want to make it bigger and better this year, so I'm going to work twice as hard to make it bigger and better. Now, whether you work with me or you work with my company or another company out there, and somebody is giving you advice, take that advice from that other company, whatever company you're working with, take that advice and use it. Don't just sit back and think, well, I'll do what I want to do. I hired these people. They're professionals, but I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm not going to follow what they're telling you. Listen to what they're telling you, because they wouldn't be telling you that if they didn't want you to be a success. You got to stay on a motivated pattern. You got to push. You got to push every year. Because the second thing about it is too, remember, last year, your guests were used to that event. In fact, one of the keys I will tell you what some event planning is. When we're actually planning the first year's event, say the one right in front of us, so let's just say we're planning the one for Camp Hero or Irish Angel or Phoenix Farm and Sanctuary or Fighters for Freedom or any one of them. We're actually planning, not only we're planning this year, we're actually planning next year's event. But for next year, here's the key. Your event has got to evolve. What does that mean? It's got to change. Because people are going to get bored as hell. They're going to come back. It's going to be the same event. It's got to change. It's got to drastically change. So you got to change it up. You got to keep people on their toes and get them excited. They got to be excited. We've got a lot of events coming up, not only in this fall and winter, but we're also already booking out for the spring. It's going to be crazy, but I'm getting ready for it. Got to get ready for it. So what I got to do is I got to get on my clients, and I'm starting to make calls to all of our clients and saying, hey, what are you doing? You got to start promoting, this. You got to kick them a little bit, because what are they doing? They're doing the whole sophomoric syndrome. They're sitting back and thinking, I don't have to work as hard. That's not true. So here's another little tidbit. And I heard this from someone else who did Trevor and Jason. They did a video, a webcast about it, or a podcast about it. And honestly, what they said was true. In fact, I had said this previously in another video, probably a year or so ago, one of my video blogs, is that don't compare yourself to another charity. Please don't do that. If you're an upstart, let's take Camp Hero, because Camp Hero is like on the top of my mind, because Rocco and his wife Lauren are killing it, doing an event out in Kentucky, actually killing it. But they're technically an upstart. They haven't been around for 30 years. They're not. They're having a big event, but they know, Rocco knows, he's doing his own event. Be who yourself. Don't think you're the United Way that's been around for 100 years and are making $100 million. Don't think that. The next thing, don't do this, and this happens all the time. If somebody says, hey John, guess what? Or hey Jane, guess what? That event, and this happens to me all the time. It literally just happened to me in Idaho. Hey John, that event last week did over $1 million. And it's in the same venue. And you know what my response was? No, it wasn't. No, it didn't do $1 million. And here's what did $1 million. All those checks are already written beforehand, because that charity's been around a long time, and all their supporters and sponsors already wrote those checks beforehand to that charity. But they've been around forever. Don't compare yourself to another charity or another business. Don't do it. Don't do it. Concentrate on your mission first, making sure everybody has your mission, that you're telling people what you do and getting it out there. Concentrate on making your charity the best it can possibly be, but do not worry about what's going on around you. Don't worry about other charities. Don't worry about other charities, what kind of money they're raising. Because believe me, using something that Jason said, there's an infinite pool of money out there. Just because they're raising money doesn't mean you're not going to. They built up a clientele. You too can build up a clientele. Pay attention to what you're doing. Concentrate on your charity, your fundraiser, and you'll be an absolute rock star, hands down, every single time. So that's my tip for today. Sophomore syndrome. Dude. If you are doing another follow-up event, understand that where you're at. Think about what am I thinking in my mind? Have I been advertising? Have I been working as hard as I was last year or not? And if you haven't been, it's because you're experiencing the sophomore syndrome. Secondarily, which means second year, whatever. Secondarily, pick up the pace, know what you got to do and what you got to accomplish, and ignore all the noise and what's going around you. Because the reality, probably what you're hearing isn't true anyway. Everybody loves to talk about their gross and not their net. You could probably be rocking them, doing better than they are, but you'll never know it. So that's my tip for today. The sophomore syndrome, how to stay away from it, and don't pay attention to anybody else. Again, extra credit for the significance of these things, and this one up here, especially. That's extra credit. So, gold star. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. I'm George, www.bwlimited.com. Check it out. Bye-bye.